We're here down in Barn 3 with Steve Krebs, trainer Krebsy, if you know him around the track. We're going to get to learn about him. So, first of all, you've been a trainer for quite some years, but how did you even get into horse racing to begin with?
Pretty much grew up in it. When I was like 5 years old, my dad was given a free thoroughbred stallion, and I got a picture of it somewhere. The poor horse was tied to a tree in somebody's backyard, skin and bones, and my dad took him and nursed him back to health, and I guess he liked him so much he ended up buying an old chicken farm down in Williamstown, 25 acres, and for the horse, and made a farm out of it. And the next thing you know, we had 10 brood mares, and just went from there. So, my childhood pretty much was spent on the weekends at the racetrack, and in the summertime at the racetrack taking care of horses.
How did you get to the beautiful Garden State? You obviously grew up in South Jersey. Is that where it began for you, being a trainer in 1990?
Well, actually, it was Atlantic City. I pretty much grew up at Atlantic City. Where I lived at, we were right between Atlantic City and Garden State Park, but Garden State had burnt down. But we did go there in the wintertime as a training center, even before they rebuilt it. But mostly it was at Atlantic City, spent a lot of summers at Atlantic City racetrack. And when I was 22 years old, I got my license. In fact, it'll be 32 years this year, just right around now. So.
Do you remember saddling your first horse?
Oh, yeah, I was so scared. The horse's name was Imitation, and I was nervous because grew up on the racetrack. Everybody's there to watch it, and he got beat 35 lengths, something like that. And I didn't even want to go. I was too embarrassed to go talk to the jockey. And I was with a buddy of mine, Phil Grimm. I said, "Phil, I'm not going down there. I'm too embarrassed." He said, "Steve, I had this horse, Classical Poet. I had to go down and talk to the jockey after every time he got beat. So he goes, you got to go down," and I did. And actually, a friend of mine rode the horse, a kid that grew up in Williamstown as well, Tommy Bromley. Rode him, and he got off him. He said, "Steve, you got to fix this," and I did. And the horse came back his very next start and won, and paid $85. So my second horse I ever saddled.
Well, you've saddled some really good horses. We're going to jump to graded stakes winner Banjo Picker. How'd you get Banjo Picker?
He was in here. He was a PA bred, and at the time we always paid attention to the PA breds. And I had worked for Scott Lake for a couple of years, and we always did very well, claiming from the Houghtons. And so when I seen him, he was PA bred. He was coming from the Houghtons, and we just took a shot. Never thought he was going to be what he ended up being.
What was it like on the ride with Banjo Picker, all the success? And he ran some really fast numbers. One of his speed figures of his last big win was 112. He was fast.
Yes, yeah, he was. And he was a real big horse. But he didn't actually show that speed right away. I mean, when I first claimed him, he seemed like he was a little better at going 7/8 of a mile. But then it seemed like as he got older, man, he really started showing a whole lot of speed, which was kind of surprising, But, yeah, he was just a great horse. Pleasure to train.
Your wife rode him, Tara. Tell us about that now. You're the trainer, you're the husband, your wife's riding the horse. What was that dynamic like?
It was a little tough sometimes, but she did a great job with him, and I mean, like I always said, he made everybody around him look better. He really did. We just pointed him in the direction, and he did it.
I asked her today what he was like, and she said he was push button, just really easy to ride.
Yeah, she got on him every morning. I mean, he would go up on the racetrack, and he would stand there for a half hour or so and just watch the horses train, just stand there. And then, but when it was time for him to go and train, he was all business.
Well, you've been in the business many years, and you really love your horses, and obviously they love being around you. Nobody cheers their horses home quite like you did, and you did that yesterday with Musk. What's that like for you?
That's what you said, and I realize that. I guess my emotions get the best of me sometimes, and afterwards I'm like, man, I hope nobody looked around and saw me. I might be a little embarrassed, but yeah, I guess it's good. It just shows that I still care, have that, and still have that drive in me, But you talk about cheering and Banjo Picker. When he won the Gravesend, I watched the race down in the Horseman's Lounge downstairs at Aqueduct. And I'm screaming and screaming and screaming. And I thought he won, and I ran out the door. I got halfway down the hallway. I turned around. I came back to watch the replay. And Billy Turner of Seattle Slough fame was in there sitting there watching. And I'm going, did he win? Did he win? Did he win? And he was just laughing at me. And I seen the slow-mo, and I seen that, and I finally ran out to go meet the horse. So
well, you have all those great memories. And there's a stakes here named after Banjo Picker that you get to enjoy every year. And you're still very much involved, very hands-on. What do you love about the horses?
I don't know. They're just great to be around. I mean, they're always happy to see you. When you come walking back in the barn, even at feed time of night, they see you. They know you're getting fed, and they holler at you. I've always, ever since I was young, I've always enjoyed the horses.
What would you give any advice for any young trainers coming up?
just go work for a good trainer, someone who and just learn, and I think you should start from the bottom, start walking hots, become a groom for a little while, and just learn all the basics, definitely first.
Well, you're one of my favorites around the track, Krebsy, and we love you, and it was great getting to learn a little bit about how you got into horse racing.
Thank you.